back to another episode of The Unstable Brew, where we discuss all things not quite normal brewing up in our lives, this world, and maybe even beyond. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Charity.
Let's get brewing. Yay!
Happy Halloween.
Almost. I mean, when we're recording
It's
this,
nowhere near Halloween.
not even close. It's still September. But when this releases, it will be close to Halloween. So happy Halloween!
Yay!
Do you know that Halloween? Well, I know you know this, but are you aware that Halloween is one of my favorite holidays?
I am aware of that. Yes.
I'm super excited.
Which, I mean, like, Halloween for me, I could leave it or take it or leave it. You know, like, I like it in the sense that I love fall. I kind of like spooky things. Like, it's a fun vibe for me. But as for, like, the holiday itself,
I love Halloween.
I could care less.
I like Halloween because it kind of signifies the holiday seasons.
Yes.
So not only do you get fall, which I am a fall fan. Okay. Yes. I love fall. It's one of my favorite seasons because it's starting to get like nice and crisp and cool. You can start lighting fires. So then like the whole s'mores. I have a crap ton of really good memories during the fall season involving my dad. So for me, Halloween is just kind of like that first holiday that then follows by Thanksgiving, then it's followed by Christmas, and it's followed by New Year's, and then it's followed by my anniversary.
It just sets off all of the good times.
So it's
very nice.
It's very nice. I'm kind of sad though because of course all the good Halloween decorations gets put out during the month of August and beginning of September.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is fine and dandy, except for now that we're about to close on a house, I don't have decorations that I can add this year for Halloween. However, Matt and I did start looking at some of the decorations that they have left, and we were both kind of like, yeah, these are the kind of decorations we want to go with.
But what will be nice is you'll be able to go in during the clearance sections and really prep yourselves for next year.
We were already looking at Christmas stuff because I have made the suggestion that we extend an invitation to our family to have holidays at our house.
I love that idea.
We've never done it before. The only person that we've actually celebrated holidays with at our place was my mother-in-law and TK. And it was just us three because I worked retail. So me having holiday time off is a joke. So it was just that. So this year, now that we're gonna be homeowners, I'm
so excited.
Okay, I will, because people are gonna be like, what? As the time of us recording this episode, I am days away from officially closing on our first home.
Yay!
So by the time this is out, we would have finally made the treacherous move into our home that we will not be making any more moves for several years to come because we will not be renting, we will be owning. I'm sure all of our friends will be very happy for that little tidbit of you don't have to help us move anytime soon.
Hallelujah.
But yeah, so that's happening.
I'm so excited for you. And it's going to be even better that it's happening during the month of October for you.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Halloween just starts off all of these happy memories for you and all the good times, all of the holidays. And so now you'll also be able to pair it along with your buying of your first home.
Yes.
That's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be amazing. I'm
so
super
excited for you.
Yeah. It's been a roller coaster. The amount of paperwork and documents that we had to submit was, I'm not going to lie, there were several times where I had the thought of, can we just call this off? Can we not follow through with it? I don't want to do this anymore because it was so stressful.
It is so stressful.
It was so it's like I've been stressed before. And
it's not like buying a house.
And I knew it's like, okay, first off, you can tell yourself, I'm aware of what's going to happen. I know everything that's going to happen. But until you actually go through it,
no,
you don't know.
It is insane.
Well, not only is it stressful, you have people that you probably have never met face to face. The only person we've actually met face to face was our realtor. Everyone else, email.
Yeah.
Or our lender, I've heard her voice.
I've never met any of my lenders.
So it's stupid weird to know that so much of the important things were happening behind the scenes with little to no intervention from Matt and I. All we could really do was just sit there and wait.
They're doing a good job.
Wait for the email response saying, oh, we're moved on to the next step, or we need to get X, Y, and Z from you, just for you to have to go, shit, okay, let me do that real quick. And then have to send all of this stuff that you didn't think you needed to. They get real personal with your financial records, just saying.
They
be
dig
prepared.
so deep into your financial records that you have to check yourself of, what? Did I do this? Do I have these records?
I can't tell you.
Oh my gosh.
As we were going through the underwriting stage, I was just waiting for them to come back and go, so we're not going to be able to follow through with this because here's why. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for it up until even now. I'll be honest. Even now, we haven't signed the official closing papers. We haven't gotten the keys yet. I am still expecting for me to get an email that says, oh, something popped up. And I'm just like, what? What do we do?
I'm not going to lie. The very first time we bought a house, and this was pre-COVID, so there was a little bit more face-to-face, but the closing was very different for our first house than it was for the house that we're in now, because for the house that we're in now, a lot of it was electronic. Yeah. We still had to be there in person to sign all the documents, but it was on like an iPad, so it was a lot less papers to deal with. Because first time we went in there, kid you not, there like a book, like a freaking Harry Potter book. It was so thick of papers that we had to sign. And what was the point of the story? I had a point that so we go in there, and I kid you not, the entire time we are signing these documents, they're like, if you so much as put your middle name on one signature and you forget to do it on another one, we have to start all the way over. And I'm like, until my keys are not in my hand, I am not going to feel like this house is mine.
Yeah, that's
because like there's so many things that can go wrong. If I do the wrong signature, if I do the wrong this or the wrong that, then they're going to come back and be like, nope, sorry. Until those keys were in hand.
You got to do it all over again.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, now that we are in the waiting to close phase, first off, don't buy furniture.
Don't do anything on credit. Don't do anything on credit. Don't sneeze on your credit card. Hide it.
Like, it does not exist until you are waiting to sign those papers and you're done.
You buy so much as a candy bar, and you could literally lose your house.
That's insane to me that something like that. Now, I will say, fun fact for anyone who's like, oh, I just planned this trip and now I'm into the whole buying a house thing. I used my credit card on our trip after we had paid that bitch down, because that was one of the things that was intent. Like, I already had the intention of doing it. And I mean, I sent them all of the stuff about my credit card and I said I paid it down, and they saw all of our transactions of, like, we were in Gatlinburg as I'm sending her all of this stuff. Cause I made sure, I was like, we're bringing the laptop with me. And Matt's like, why? And I was like, because if they need us to do something, I would much rather have the laptop on us to where we could
do the entire time.
And yeah. So like, I had the laptop on me. So anytime we got an email, if it was something that they needed to be sent, I was like, okay, we need to go back to the hotel so that way I can send those documents and then we can continue doing whatever. So yeah, I used our credit card during Gatlinburg, and I've used the credit card a few times. However, during the week of closing, don't do anything.
Yeah.
That's where it screws you.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm not
gonna lie though, it just scares me throughout the entire process.
Oh yeah.
I know the week of of closing is like an absolute, you don't touch it.
It does not exist.
Anytime during the process, there's just so many financial records that they ask for. I'm like, I don't want to do anything that could change anything.
Exactly.
It terrifies me.
But apparently they saw that we are fit enough to be able to own a home, so nice.
Hey. Which in this economy is a great accomplishment.
That means, here's the thing, as 30-year-olds, that means our debt to income ratio is actually not nearly as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, you're doing good. And then once you're in the house, then you can screw that over. Yeah. I don't recommend it.
I've started paying back my student loans for that fear.
I am so proud of you.
One
day I can afford that.
I set up auto pay and everything, and I'm just like, here's the thing, is I realized that if I get rid of some of my other debts that I have, like Affirm, the money that I've been putting towards my Affirm payments can just get put towards my student loans. I'm like, I didn't realize how anal I am about our credit until I sat there and went, how many credit cards do we have? Oh, we had 4, and now it's down to 2.
I'm proud of you.
Because I got a personal loan to consolidate those down.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a debt that we can actually get rid of versus the others we would be drowning in.
You know, I love that this episode is all about horror stories, and we're sitting here talking about buying homes, debt, student loans.
Oh, yeah. All of it's scary.
All horror stories. Welcome to Halloween. Halloween for adults.
Yeah, I was like, welcome to adulting. You never leave the horror house.
At all.
Oh, that's terrifying. So, yeah, that's my spiel. You know, buying a house, all that craziness. What about you, Charity? What have you been up to? I feel like it's been forever since I've actually seen your face. I bailed on your 5K.
I know.
For good cause, though.
It was really, really fun. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little, I say a little stressed. My husband will tell you that by the time I got to Desiree and Alexis's house Friday night, I was texting him like, I feel like I shouldn't even have signed up for this. I shouldn't have signed up Alex for this. I shouldn't be here. Like, I feel like all of this is just a mess. Because I signed up Alex for that Kid Dash.
Oh, yeah. I heard that didn't happen. What happened?
I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
Oh, no.
It's a whole weekend.
I'm sorry.
And it was just one of those things where it's like one thing after another, where that Friday, I don't remember what all was going on, but I know, Daniel, he's just been so overwhelmed.
Swamped.
He has been so overwhelmed. His radio station has taken on 5 news stations
that he's trying to get up and running.
With him being the general manager, he is 100% in charge of getting all of them up and running. They're not even in this state, so he has to go to other states to do this. And so he's been incredibly stressed. So he's like, I love you, I support you, but I'm gonna stay home this weekend and, die. Which I completely understood. But I'm not going to lie. I was sad. Because it's my first ever 5K. Yeah. And I wanted him to be there. But it was fine. So then I'm like, okay, it's fine. I have Alex. He's going to do this Kid Dash. He's going to have a lot of fun. And the entire drive there, Taylor, his 4-year-old syndrome is coming out. And he has gotten into this mood lately of, I want, or if it's not in my exact way, in my exact timing, then I am going to throw the biggest fit in the world. And he did not want to go run. He did not want to go outside of the house. He did not want to sit in the car, which granted, it's like an hour and a half drive. I don't blame the kid. I didn't want to sit in Friday night traffic and that. But at the same time, like, try and have some fun with it. And he was just from Royce City to Fort Worth, over an hour in traffic, screaming the whole time. It was so bad. So by the time I got to Desiree's house, I was just done. I gave him my phone. I let him watch his show, and I just sat with the girls. I was like, I don't care what we do, but I don't want to deal at this point. I'm so done. And then we get there that next morning and everything was going great. Like, yeah, parking was horrendous, but we had to figure out like where we were going, how to get signed up and everything. And we do that. And so it's time for the Kid Dash. Mind you, on every single thing it says that the Kid Dash is at 6:55 and then the actual run starts at 7. Kid Dash is literally them just at the starting line. They're going to dash to another person standing probably like 100 yards away. First person there wins.
Right.
They started at 5 minutes early. There was no announcement. There was nothing. And they were just like, all right, if you're here for the Kid Dash, get on the starting line. And we're nowhere near it. We're on the other side of the parking lot. We're like, oh, okay, I guess we need to head that way. And we get 5 steps in and they're like, ready, set, go. And I'm like, what the crap? I think they had like 2 kids at the starting line because nobody knew that it was starting early. It was just one of those things where it was one thing after another. But the main thing was we still had a lot of fun.
Okay.
The kids loved it. Once they were actually there that morning, like even though they didn't get to run in the actual dash, they had an entire park. So while I'm out on my 5K, they're running up and down the soccer fields. They're playing on the playground. They're playing on the swings. Uncle Brandon is keeping an eye on all of them while Christina and Desiree are just sitting back, relaxing on the chairs. Like they're having a grand old time.
They were smart about their decisions.
They had fun. That was the main thing. I'm on my 5K, and this was actually really interesting because like we ran across the highway, so I got to see like the police officer stopping traffic for us. I was that person. It was kind of fun. But I'll say this. First off, they do other races while you're doing a run race. I'm running this 5K. There are people out there on bikes doing their own little race on the same sidewalk. It's not a wide sidewalk, and they don't give much warning. There were a couple of times, I'm not gonna lie, I almost tripped a cyclist because they got within 3 inches of me, and all that I heard 5 seconds before they passed was, bike. And then they just flew past me, and I'm like, boy, if you hit me, I will scream, my neck hurts. I was done. I was so done with every cyclist around me. But, I mean, then there is the one moment of shame.
Ooh, yes. Do tell this story. I know I shouldn't be this excited, but it's kind of hilarious to me at the same time.
In hindsight, it's a little funny. In the moment, I was so appalled and offended. The pure audacity.
How dare this
How
woman?
Dare she?
Walk.
I was trying so hard.
How dare this woman walk?
I am halfway through mile 2, and I've not stopped yet. I've ran the entire time. I've slowed down to a jog, a light jog, but I think I'm giving it my all. I'm trying so hard. I'm sitting there like, yeah, I've got this. I haven't even had to stop yet. I'm doing so well. Why is this person passing me on the right while walking? She sure did. Just nice leisurely stroll, not even a speed walk, just walks right past me, and I'm like, what, excuse me. I was so mad. What makes it worse was she still beat me. She beat me by like a solid 30 or 40 seconds. By the whole 5K, she finished before me. I'm like, oh, come on. By the end of it, I was like kind of doing this back and forth thing with 2 old guys. One of whom had a knee brace. The other one had his arm in a sling. And I'm like, son of a nut, if these 2 men beat me, I will never run again. I beat them. They were my push forward the entire time was they will not win. But it was fun.
Small victories, small goals.
Victories. It was my first 5K, so I'll take it as a win that I finished.
So here's the thing. Let's go back. Not only is it your first 5K that you've ever signed up for and did, which kudos to you, because
thank you.
I will never do that. But secondly, you ended up having to take a 2-week hiatus.
I did.
Because you were just dealing with crap.
Well, I strained my back.
So think about that. What was your time?
It was like 47 and a half. I think it was 47:30 exactly.
Okay, so that is now your record to beat for any future 5Ks that you do. Because again, you took a 2-week break, then immediately jumped into competing in this 5K because you had no choice. You signed up for it. You made a commitment. You're going to do it. And you did it in under 50 minutes. You did a 5K, which is how many miles?
3.2 miles.
In less than an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. Right before my hiatus, I was at a little over 45 minutes. So my goal for the 5K had been to be under 45 minutes. So I didn't quite hit that goal, but the fact that I had to take 2 weeks off
and still hit 47
and still hit under 50, I was very happy for that.
So like those are the type of victories that you're like, I did this and I can do it again. I just now have a record that I want to try and beat.
Exactly.
So
I will say this, I definitely do want to do another 5K, but it may be a little bit. But yeah.
It's just exhausting when I hear people talk about running.
It's exhausting to run, but gets your endorphins up. Makes you happy.
I mean...
It's good for the depression, Taylor.
I bought a house.
You bought a house?
With a nice backyard. My depression's covered for a little bit.
At very least, you have a very nice place to sit and feel depressed.
I better not feel depressed with that backyard.
That is very true. That's a beautiful yard. You open up that back gate and just feel.
Not only do we have fully grown trees in the backyard, so the backyard is completely shaded.
Completely.
And the trees are in our yard, so the neighbors can't do anything about it. But I have a covered porch that's right off of our 2-car garage. Oh, and by the way, we have a nice little shop that has a screened in area that they just laid a slab of concrete on. So like, options.
Exactly.
Options exist.
No reason to be depressed.
Not right now, at least. Between me getting a pay raise, Matt getting a pay raise, us buying a house, we should be good for the time being.
You're doing better than most. That's the main thing.
I'm very proud. My therapy session that I had on Monday was me just talking about my house for the entire hour.
Nice.
Because I was just that excited.
Sometimes you need that.
We did not do what was intended for me to do,
sometimes you need to just be able to be happy.
Oh, it felt really nice to be able to splurge. Even my therapist, because I told my therapist, I was like, I am heavily restraining myself from packing. And she was like, why? Go ahead and start packing.
The house is, other than signing the documents at this point, you're at the end.
We are. We trust.
Go ahead and start packing. Even if you want to be extra safe, pack the stuff that you don't care about. Like knickknacks on the wall, stuff that's going to have to be packed up anyways at the end of your lease. If you are going to end up moving somewhere else, just pack.
Oh, I've already started that process. But yeah, she pretty much said, go ahead and pack. I will say before we get into it, we trespassed on the property this past weekend.
You say that like you haven't done it before.
Nobody
lives there, so it's fine.
That's the thing, is I knew that no one lived there. We couldn't actually enter the house for obvious reasons. So we were in the backyard for a good solid 30 to 45 minutes. And then our friend Jacoby asked what we were doing because his partner was out with his mom to go get their nails done. And we're like, do you want to know a little surprise? Meet us at this address. So we showed him the outside of the house, and then we went and grabbed a bite to eat. Our friends still don't know. You realize that? Like our here friends, not the girls. The girls know, okay? First off, you and Daniel have been involved since like day one. The girls have been lightly involved in going, oh, we're at this step. Oh my God, we've reached this step. This is happening. But like none of our other friends really know.
It just means that once you're done, it can be a happy surprise of, hey, look what we did.
Oh, that's the plan. I just now texted Dad letting him know that this was happening.
Oh, how'd that go?
He was surprised.
Was he?
Yeah, in a good kind of way. This is one of those things of like, it's one of those things of if you actually successfully get to the point of closing in the house, it's not something to be like, oh my God, you just bought a house. What's wrong with you? It's like, oh, like you bought a house. Like that's big.
That's so awesome. And in this economy, it's really, really hard. So it is something to be proud of.
So like it's massive that Matt and I were able to accomplish this. Will we be back to being like paycheck to paycheck? Sure. Who isn't?
But you're going to make it work.
We bought a house. We bought a house at a decent price. We're going to refi in about 6 months or so when interest rates drop. So we should get cheaper payments. Yay. On top of the fact of we didn't get a house that was at the max of our current income. Right now, we actually went lower than that. That's like a perfect little house because I wanted to give us wiggle room.
Yeah.
On top of the fact where it's located, and if more things keep getting added, like that fancy little Cinemark, that property's going to be worth some money.
Oh, yes, it is.
So we're going to come out on top. It's a real investment.
Yay.
I'm excited. Well, today's episode is filled with I love how we talk so easily. And then we come to the rundown, and then it's like English doesn't exist anymore.
And just right out the door.
Just bye-bye. Today's episode is filled with thrills and frights. In honor of Halloween, this week we are sharing spooky stories that we found on Reddit, on other podcasts, or have heard over the years. We hope to spook you right into the week of Halloween.
Yeah. I've been so excited for this episode because, one, I just love Halloween. But, I mean, also my favorite podcast during Halloween, I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm just going to hype them up again. It's Full Body Chills. If you've not heard them, listen to them. I may have gotten some inspiration from them for my stories. Just, they're amazing. Check them out. But also, as Taylor mentioned, a lot of these stories, they're not completely from us. We've gotten them from other places. So we are going to do our best to make sure that we cite, where we found them. I know most of Taylor's are from Reddit. A lot of mine are from random sites. So we're going to make sure that we try to cite where we found them before we get into them.
So I guess let's get spooky.
Yeah.
So how do you want to start this? Do you want me to start? Do you want you to start?
How about you start, and then we just back and forth.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with 2-sentence horror stories that I got off of Reddit, because who doesn't love Reddit? So we will start with this first one. I bought a new fitness tracker, but I think it must be broken. 3 days each month, it seems to log thousands of steps while I sleep, and then I wake up with a funny metallic taste in my mouth.
Mine is from countryliving.com, and it states, my sister says that mommy killed her, but mommy says I don't have a sister.
We're just going to gloss over the fact that the story that I just read may or may not be a werewolf one, but it's like, oh, mommy says my sister killed her, but mommy says I don't have a sister. Dun, dun, dun. I hope Alex doesn't say anything creepy.
He hasn't yet, thankfully. It's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time. Are you ready for my next little 2-sentence story? I excitedly read the message title, Patch Notes, this morning. It doesn't seem to say what game this patch is for, I thought, as reality distorted around me.
Ooh. I heard that one before, and it took me a second to kind of fully grasp what it was saying, and then I was like, oh, no.
Oh, you mean the simulation theory?
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like it might be true.
There are times, I actually learned about that when I was in astronomy in college. They talk about that in astronomy class in college.
How? Why?
Because there is a theory out there, one of the scientific theories out there, if you want to give credit to it or not, is that we are all just a science project of some alien out there sitting on a shelf. That we're just a computer project.
I mean, we could be.
Yeah, it's a theory that's out there. So yeah, I've heard of it before.
Maybe. All right.
As for my next one, also from countryliving.com, they delivered the mannequins in bubble wrap. From the main room, I begin to hear popping. I hate mannequins. Oh gosh, that one gets
But
me.
I love the popping sound. So random. Sorry, the popping sound made me go back to what happened at work like a few months ago. So our IT guys ended up getting some stuff delivered. It was like laptops and computer monitors and stuff like that. And so whenever they send that stuff, it comes with bubble wrap. And one of the IT guys literally took the like sheets that came with, and he just asked people in our room, he's like, do you want a bubble wrap or do you want a bubble wrap? And so he handed out sheets of bubble wrap to like several of us, me included. And I'm just over here methodically going pop, pop, pop.
That's awesome.
And I'm like going down the line in like a like sensation. Like, I love it.
I just go straight for the jugular. I gotta get all of them.
Not like I want to get all of them, but I want to be like very like pop, 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 pop. I just want to pop one at a time. But the thing is I do it like one at a time, but I do it kind of quickly. Mm-hmm. So you still kind of get that sensation, and plus it allows the sheet to last longer.
Yeah.
So random thing. My sister disappeared a week ago after my parents told her not to dress up as a scarecrow for Halloween. I miss her a lot, but I wish the crying from the fields would stop.
Dude, I've heard that one before and it gets under my skin.
Why?
Okay, so there is actually an episode on Full Body Chills that talks kind of like that. They did an entire series one year that would kept going back to kind of that similar theme.
What, scarecrows?
It was a serial killer. And he would kill his victims and then dress them up as scarecrows. And then they would be stuck in this field. But then they would come alive at night and cry to each other. And that's also how he would lure his new victims. I'm telling you, it's such a good show.
Oh, that's
They did
nice.
a similar one along that same series with mannequins.
I bet you've hated that mannequin one.
Oh, you have no idea. I hate dolls. I hate dolls. I hate dolls. I woke up to hear knocking on glass. At first, I thought it was the window until I heard it come from the mirror again.
It's the again part that
The
gets
again.
me. Like, it's like I've heard this before, and it's obviously not coming from the window. It's coming from the mirror again. How many times have you heard this?
Why do you still have that mirror? Get rid of the mirror.
First off, if I had registered that knocking was coming from my mirror, I would have noped that thing out the window so fucking fast.
Right?
That's not going to be in my house. I don't want knocking coming from my mirror. It's one thing from a window. At least I live in Texas. I live in the South. I can shoot first, ask questions later.
We don't deal with mirrors. Mm-mm.
I don't deal with knocking mirrors. We're going to be very specific. Knocking mirrors. Though if I see something creepy through my window too, that one's going out the window.
Well, quick
as well.
sidetrack on that note, since, we're discussing spooky things, you do know that you're not supposed to have a mirror facing your bed, right?
Yeah, and yet I lived in Texarkana where I had a mirror facing my bed because I had nowhere else to put my jewelry box.
I have never had a mirror facing my bed that I can remember, but as an adult, like I couldn't tell you why I didn't want it to face my bed. I just knew it freaked me out, and that's when when I got older, I found out, that mirrors are considered to be portals and that it can open up negative spirits to come out. And yeah, it's like a whole thing. I don't necessarily believe that, but I still think it's creepy to have them facing my bed, so I don't.
Look, I already have issues with the idea of having mirrors above your bed.
That's another topic altogether.
I love my partner, but I really don't want to see all angles of us being intimate because of a mirror either on the roof or across the bed from us.
So I'm taking it that new season of Bridgerton was not your peak, viewing experience.
Oh no, that definitely was. But that's just because they have really good chemistry together.
Yeah.
Like I was
mirror scene.
And also that wasn't a creepy mirror scene. They did that in a
It was very tasteful
and sexy kind of way. No, I'm referring to mirror the 60s porn with the mirrors on top of the roof.
Talk about a horror story. Ooh.
I don't need to see how much my left boob is sagging, okay? I know, I feel it. I don't need to see the visual.
No, thank you. Anywho.
Okay, my turn. At this point, our listenership is going down.
What the crap?
This is not what I
came here for Halloween. I don't want to hear about your boob. Specifically, the left one.
Yep, gotta be the lefty.
Oh, gosh.
I can't take myself seriously. This is a little bit more, it's longer than a 2-sentence. It's more of a short story, and I actually got this from Reader's Digest. The title of this short story is called The Uninvited Party Guest. One night, a group of adults were having a Halloween party, a dinner party to be more precise. There were 6 of them, and they had all just taken their seats when they had heard an unexpected knock at the door. The woman hosting the dinner party opened the door to see who would possibly be, but no one was there. Somebody must have realized they had the wrong address, she explained to her guests. But when they all turned their attention back to the table, there was a 7th plate set. Was that there before? One of the men asked. I must have set an extra place by mistake, said the hostess. She took it back to the kitchen, but when she returned, another plate was there, this time with a glass next to it. The other guests had been talking amongst themselves and hadn't seen anything strange, but when they realized what had happened, they were shocked and didn't know what to do. At this point, they figured the best strategy was to play along, so they filled the empty glass and plate so as to not upset their mysterious, uninvited guest.
That's freaky. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to lie, if I'm having a dinner party and someone, whether it be human or ghost, is out there just, adding extra place settings, are you doing the dishes?
I mean, that's fair. If I ended up having an extra plate show up, I will straight up ask, are you doing the dishes? Because I did not sign up to be washing 7 plates and 7 cups. I signed up for 6. So unless you're going to help, you can leave. But that's just me.
Hey, if you want to join the party, more power to you.
Okay.
For my next story, I got this one. I can't even pronounce the website. It's like Diatmika.
I don't fucking know.
I don't know. .org.
But you asked the wrong person.
It's someone named Zoe Marland who just posted some of her favorite short stories. And this one is titled The Cabin. A hiker decided to go on a hike by himself, something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed his surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him that was until he was making his way back to his car. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. The sky was already getting dark, and he needed to get back fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize on the trail back. He began to panic. Night had already taken over, and all he had was a flashlight and no clue on how to get back. He knew it was already too late and too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have to shelter for the night when, almost luckily enough, he stumbled across a broken down cabin. The night... It was dark. It was dark and seemed like no one had visited it in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered, so he let himself in, where, strangely enough, a perfect bed fit for one person awaited him in the center. He knew that if the owner came back, he could explain himself. He was sure that the owner wouldn't mind, or was probably even dead. So he went ahead and got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collection of paintings around the room, portraits of strange people all peering in at him, each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not too long after, his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him, and he was able to ignore the faces. The next morning, he got up early and was shocked to see that there were in fact no paintings around the room, only windows.
That's kind of terrifying,
right?
To think,
It's that twist at the end that got me on that.
It's like, oh, these are really nice paintings. They're kind of creepy and a little odd, but
they're smiling.
I guess these are fine little paintings. Go to sleep, wake up, and go, wait a minute. There's way too much daylight.
Time to get the heck out of Dodge. Let's go. Oh my gosh. That's creepy.
That's like unsettling. I feel like I've heard that.
I had never heard that one before.
I feel like I've heard like a version of that. Because I mean, all of these stories stem from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, people are way more creative than me. So there's that. Do you have any more that you want to share?
Let me see. I have a bunch of smaller ones. I know that you have one more long one.
I do have one long one. I mean, I can read it and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So let it be known. I just want to get this out there. Actually, no. I will credit where I got it from at the end of the story.
There you go. I think that's a good idea.
I'll credit where I got it from at the end of the story. The title is called The Watcher in the Woods. I apologize. This is kind of long. So bear with me. Deep in the heart of an old forest, far from the touch of civilization, there was a narrow, winding path known only to a few. The locals had a name for it, the Whispering Trail. They avoided it at all costs, sharing whispers of strange things happening to those who wandered too far. One autumn evening, a young man named Daniel, who was new to the area, heard the tales but dismissed them as old superstitions. He loved hiking and had explored many forests before, always returning with nothing more than a few scratches and beautiful photographs. The Whispering Trail seemed like the perfect adventure for him. As Daniel ventured deep into the woods, the trees grew denser, their branches forming eerie, twisted shapes above him, blotting out the dying light. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, he pushed on, feeling a strange pull to continue. Soon the forest around him fell unnaturally quiet. No rustling leaves, no chirping birds, just the sound of his footsteps and his own breathing. Suddenly, Daniel heard it, a faint rustling behind him. He spun around, his heart racing. There was nothing, just trees and shadows. But as he turned to continue walking, the sound came again, this time louder, closer. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, matching his pace. He looked back again, but still, no one was there. Nervous, but not wanting to give in to fear, he quickened his pace. The footsteps quickened too. Faster and faster they came, always just behind him, never visible. Panic rising, Daniel broke into a run. But no matter how fast he went, the footsteps stayed close, relentless. Finally exhausted and gasping for breath, Daniel stumbled into a small clearing. The footsteps stopped. He stood in the middle, scanning the dark woods, trying to calm his racing heart. For a moment, everything was still. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw it, a figure, tall, impossibly tall, standing among the trees. It didn't move, but Daniel could feel its eyes on him. It was watching him, waiting. Paralyzed with fear, he couldn't take his eyes off the figure. Slowly, ever so slowly, it began to move, its long, thin limbs bending unnaturally as it stepped closer. The shadows seemed to cling to it, obscuring its face, but Daniel could feel the malice radiating from its presence. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, Daniel turned and sprinted back the way he had come, not caring about the branches that whipped at his face or the roots that tried to trip him. All he could think about was getting away, but no matter how far he ran, he could still feel the watcher's gaze following him, closing in. He finally reached the edge of the forest, stumbling out onto a dirt road, gasping for air when he dared to look back. The watcher was gone. The forest was silent again. Daniel never spoke of what happened in the woods that night, but he never returned to the Whispering Trail, and to this day, some say that if you listen closely at the forest edge, you can still hear the footsteps, the watcher, waiting for someone new to follow. But be warned, once it chooses you, it never stops watching.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, I hate that. That was good. That was very good. Would you like to share where it's from now?
Thank you, ChatGPT.
That's awesome.
I dead ass pulled up ChatGPT because I looked at stories and I was like, none of these are speaking to me. None of these are good. I want to go out on like a good short story.
Heck yes.
And so I pulled up ChatGPT and I typed in and I was like, give me a spooky short story, something along those, very generic, super generic. And I went, have at it. And it pumped out this beautiful short story. I read through it just to like see what it was like. I was like,
it's nice. It did a great job.
I
understood the assignment.
I'm going to use this. So yeah, I got that from ChatGPT. That was actually a really, really good short story.
Nice.
And also, side note, I did not choose the name Daniel.
I heard that and I'm like, Daniel's not a hiker. It ain't him.
I did not choose the name. It chose the name for me. And that kind of also added to me going, oh, I have to choose this story now.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's I ended on that. Was that a good story? Did I tell that well?
One. You did very well.
Did I?
I'm proud of you. Good
job.
Thank you. Yay. Okay, so I have two options for you.
Okay.
Option one is I can read one of my little short stories, which they're like a paragraph. They're not very long. Or I can, from memory, tell you a much abbreviated version of one of the Full Body Chills episodes.
I want to hear your abbreviated version
because it's such a good episode, but it was even with it being a shorter episode, it would still take me like 10 minutes to actually read it word for word.
So,
but I know it well enough that I could tell a shortened version of it.
Before you continue, do you happen to know which season and episode, or at least the name of the episode that this is from? So that way, if our listeners want to go actually hunt this down themselves, they can.
I do know that it's from Full Body Chills, season 1. I want to say it's like episode 2 or 3. And the name of it, I think, is called Babysitting.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it's something along the lines of babysitting. It had to be fairly easy to find in that first season.
How many seasons do they have?
They are about to come out with their 6th season.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And you listen to them every year?
Oh, yeah. Every year. They're great.
Wow.
They're so good. Last year's was not my favorite, but that's only because there wasn't really a theme to it. Sometimes they have actual themes, so that way each episode somehow seems to tie into another one. And last year it was a little bit more spread out, but I mean, even then, it's still just really, really good stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Give us your abbreviated version of season 1, episode 2 or 3, full body chills.
All right. So, for this episode, I will be speaking in like first person for me. So when
You weirdo.
Well, that's how the story goes. So I'm going to be telling it as the story tells it.
Okay.
So when I was 14 years old, I was a big babysitter. I loved to make sure that I went out and did all the babysitting gigs that I possibly could, so that way I wouldn't have to rely on my parents to pay for all of the things that I wanted to do. You know, movies, shopping, all of that. I had it. I was good at babysitting. I was so good at babysitting that eventually I started getting gigs just through word of mouth. People that I'd never met before were calling me to see if I could babysit their children because they'd heard from some of their friends that I was just really, really great with kids. This was great because, hey, more business. So I had this one call that came through. They were a nice couple, pretty much on the rich side of town, if you catch my drift. Mm-hmm. And they're asking me if I can watch their newborn baby, about 3 months old, on Sunday night. I don't normally do Sunday nights just because, you know, sometimes it's the night before school, or I, like this weekend, was supposed to have a girls' night with some of my besties and just spend the night with them. However, they're offering me like $100, and it is summer, so I figured, why not? I'll go for it. So they did offer to come pick me up, and they would offer to drive me home afterwards. But my dad, being the control freak, you know, helicopter parent that he is, offered to drive me there instead. So he takes me there. I get out, knock on the door, and an old woman answers. My dad drives away. However, this old woman is very obviously not the person that I spoke with on the phone. And she seems very confused as to who I am and what I'm talking about. Just when I'm about to call my dad to say, hey, wrong address, come back and get me, this other guy comes running up saying, I'm so sorry, my wife keeps giving out our old address. We don't live here anymore. We live just up the street. I can take you over to our new house. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So I get in the car with him and I go to his new house. And he's right. It's not too far up the street, but there are a few turns. So, I mean, honestly, it did take a few minutes to get there. But when we got there, I walked in and his wife seemed really nice. And they said that the baby was upstairs asleep and that I was under no circumstances to wake the child. Did not matter what happened unless the house was on fire. I did not wake the child because once she's up, she's very, very hard to get back down. That's understandable. So I figured they'll leave. I can read a book, just chill. It'll be fine. So they leave and the house is really quiet. I try to mess with their TV and I cannot figure out their remote. And I figure, you know, it's probably for the best anyways. I don't really want to wake their child. So I go to pull out my book and start reading. But then I start hearing creaking noises. And I can't quite figure out what it is, but I really feel like I'm being watched. So I kind of get up and I look around, and that's when I figure, you know, it's been a couple of hours. I'm not going to wake the baby, but I do think it's odd, you know, to not at least go check on them, right? It's my job to make sure that the baby's okay. So I go up the stairs, climb over the baby gate, and I go to check on the baby. But that's when I notice every single bedroom door is locked, which means that whichever room this baby is in is also locked. I mean, who does it? Who leaves a babysitter with their 3-month-old baby and locks the baby in the room? It makes no sense. So I'm like, okay, then it clicks with me. They've left me in this house with a baby that I can't get to, and my dad doesn't know where I'm at because he thinks that I'm at the other woman's house, but they actually gave me the wrong address and then they drove me here. Something is definitely off. I need to leave. So I immediately start backing up. I immediately try to start going down the stairs. But that's when I hear it. The crying. The baby starts wailing. And I know that something's wrong because it just keeps getting louder and louder and louder. So I run down the stairs. I'm trying to get out, but the front door is locked. And every single window is locked. And I can't get out of the house. So I go and I'm right about to try the back door, but it's locked. And then I start hearing keys jiggle in it. So I go and hide, and that's when I notice that the parents have come back in and they're looking for me. And I'm hiding and I'm doing my best, and they're looking in the kitchen and then in the laundry room, and I hear them walk right past me and they say that I must be upstairs because the baby's awake, so they have to go check on me to see if I found the baby. And right as I hear the stairs creak to be sure that they're actually going up there, I race out the front door or out the back door. And I'm doing my best to just make it to the main road because I'm realizing I have no idea where I'm at. I wasn't paying attention to the roads that he went down after he picked me up. And I can't call my dad and say, hey, come pick me up because I don't know what street I'm on. So I'm running and I finally make it to a main road, and a car comes by and I hitchhike. I'm saying, hey, these people took me. I don't know what's going on. And I'm finally able to get a hold of my dad. And they meet up and I transfer over to my dad's car and they take me to the police station. And as I'm telling all of this to the police, they're trying to figure out where these people are, but they can't do it. And they drive me back through the neighborhood and I just can't find the house. I mean, even to this day, I have no idea where that house was. I've never heard from these people again. But every once in a while, my phone does ring. And I don't know if it's a prank call or if it's someone just really wanting to mess with me. But all that's on the other line is a baby crying.
You know, if I didn't know you already and know that that was a story, I would have believed it.
Oh, really?
Because I'm over here like, I'm like listening and I'm like, ma'am, red flags. First off.
Right? There's so many.
First off, kudos to Helicopter Dad, who's over here like, no. They want to come pick you up and they're going to drop. No.
Yeah, no.
I need to know where you're going. I will drop you off. Secondly, Dad should have stuck around.
Yeah, that was my only thing. Even listening to the story, I'm like, why didn't you stay long enough to realize that this is not the right house?
Right? Like, Dad should have stayed around and make sure that daughter was good. This was the right house. We're set, peachy, whatever. Secondly, teenager should not have gotten in the car to begin with.
Yeah. Never get in the car. Never go to the second location. Never go to a second location.
And if you're going to go to a second location, at the very least, remember, like,
pay attention to where you're going.
Pay attention to, like,
signs.
Something.
Anything. Yeah.
That was a good story.
Thank you. I probably butchered it from the original, but I did my best to try and hold on to those main points, and I think I did a good job at remembering.
The fact that that's abbreviated?
That's abbreviated. It's probably a 18-minute episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very good.
And do they tell all the stories in like first person or?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Most of them, yeah.
So
every once in a while it'll be like an actual story version, like they're telling a story of someone, but for the most part, a lot of them are in first person.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this super special spooky episode of The Unstable Brew. Please be safe this Halloween. Have fun. Eat all the candy to be found. And don't make stupid mistakes like getting in strangers' cars. You know, just an idea.
Yeah, and definitely never go to a second location.
Or go down a trail that's called the Whispering Trails.
Yeah. You know, maybe just be mindful. The main thing to remember is the weirder you are, the less likely you are to be kidnapped. Stay weird, stay safe.
Look, I'm already doing great because I got tattoos, colored hair. I'm immediately not
You're not
interested.
a trafficking victim with all that going on.
Nope.
Yeah.
I have too many identifications on my body now.
Yep.
I got piercings, I got tattoos, I got moles. Like, come on.
So if you have any questions regarding any of the stories that we've shared, or if you would like to share a spooky story with us for us to share in a future episode, please do that and share that with us at theunstableprew@gmail.com. We will be sure to read any and all emails that come through, and again, maybe even share some into a future episode. And if you would like to share your story but remain anonymous, just let us know and we will be sure to honor that request.
Additionally, if you would ever like to share with us a story, simply to share it but not have it shared on a future episode, please feel free to do that as well. Simply let us know that the email is for venting purposes only and not to be shared on the show. We will respect your request because boundaries matter, people.
Very aggressive. I like it.
Are you happy that I yelled?
I love aggressive Taylor. And if you would like to follow us on social media, we are available on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X. I promise I will get up X. I really hope by now I have gotten up X. We'll see. Anyways, we're available on all of those under The Unstable Brew. We are often posting extra promo videos and fun content on those platforms.
We gotta do better about posting that stuff.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We're going to get there. We'll get there.
At some point.
At some point.
And remember, we're available for your listening pleasure or displeasure on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can even watch our episodes on YouTube. Please like, share, comment, and download to your heart's content. Your interaction matters the most.
Yes, it does. And we will be back next time with more unstable content.
Bye.